So welcome everyone to the Living Well with Cancer webinar brought to you by the Cancer Resource Center of the Finger Lakes and the Hugo Medical Cancer Center. My name is Bert Scholl. Tonight's presenters are Daniela Hess and Christopher Grant with Inspired Living. And with that, I hand it over to you two.
Thank you so much for the invitation to be here. I love Cancer Resource Center. It is one of the most amazing organizations in the area. And I love that due to the ability to use technology, so many of your services can reach a much wider range. I think the title of your series is brilliant because living well is the essence of our aliveness, like how do we live well? And so I just thank you, Bert, and thank you, Cancer Resource Center, for the warm invitation and welcome. And we're absolutely honored to be here.
You are welcome.
Thank you.
Share your sentiments about the Cancer Resource Center. It's a phenomenal organization. This little community is incredibly fortunate to have the organization.
Yeah.
To be an employee here. So yeah, you're welcome.
Thank you for inviting us, and thank you for the invitation, Daniela and myself. My name is Christopher. We are co-founders of Inspired Living. We are a local organization here in Tompkins County, and we teach primarily online programs related to health and wellness of body, heart, and mind. Daniela tends to teach more about working with the mind and keys for living an inspired life. And my side is a little bit more on the physical practices. I teach yoga, I teach qigong, I teach gentle movement practices to help release stress and tension from the body, which is tonight's topic. So we'll be sharing the conversation tonight, and I'll be leading some very simple exercises that don't take that long, that can be done standing, seated, or lying down to assist with maintaining a healthy body and a healthy mind.
So when invited to be here with you, we could choose any topic, of course, with approval, that we wanted to present. And we thought, well, if we have the great good fortune to spend an hour with you, what is something that we personally find is invaluable in our own lives and that we could share with you, that could make a swift, efficient, and practical difference in your lives? I like simple and I like potent. That's a good formula for me. If things get too complex, I forget them. And then I just don't do them. So we thought, well, our ability to feel as well as possible in our vessels, in our bodies, in our minds, and really in our souls, depends oftentimes on how much or how little tension we're carrying. Due to our, one could say, almost unnaturally busy lifestyles, a lifestyle that can focus on doing, right? What are you doing? How much you're doing? When are you doing, right? There's a lot of doing in our lives. We can get so used to our contemporary lifestyle that carrying tension is so normal and regular that we don't even notice it. So when I and we came to these practices, first and foremost, wanting to feel free of unnecessary suffering or anxiousness or depression or the sense of aggravation inside, we saw, both Christopher and I, before we knew one another, we're looking for practices. So first and foremost, we could feel better. We could feel happier in our bodies, better energy, good energy, more uplifted perspective, an ability to be more flexible and patient with our family members, our friends, our colleagues, like real life practical stuff. And over the years, we just kept coming back to foundational practices that supported our ability to release tension from our bodies and from our minds. And once you start releasing tension from your body, it's kind of astounding to then look back and realize how much we carry and didn't even notice or recognize I'm carrying tension. It's different than stress and anxiety. Tension is an inner tightness. And when we relax the nervous system, we think differently. We describe ourselves, others in the world differently. We breathe differently. We are open in ourselves and therefore more open and receptive to the warmth of the world. So we wanted to share with you some practices that support and facilitate releasing tension from the body, from the mind, and that would support your well-being. And these practices are for life. They're not because of any circumstances in one's life. These are practices that you can use for life. So Christopher, back to you and anything that you're present to around the topic, and then we can dive in.
One of the things that's curious about our experience of our existence in this body is that our body, our breath, our mind, our emotions are all linked. So Daniela said, relax the nervous system. So they're all together. So if we're carrying tension in one area, then we're experiencing it in the other. So the tension that we find, the stress and the tension, can come from experiences in the world, can come from illness, sickness within, can come from agitation in the mind, can come from emotional challenge. Any one of these can lead us into a state of unhappiness, heightened stress and tension. And we can access the beginning of unraveling that knot from any angle as well, right? So let's take the breath. The breath, which we'll do a few breathing practices tonight, the breath is linked to everything. Like we breathe in, we inhale, like breath is life. We breathe in and we breathe out continuously. And without breath, we would expire within a few minutes. So breath is a very potent form of energy. We've noticed that our breathing changes when we're experiencing an emergency, or when we read some very challenging news, or when we're in a challenging emotional environment or conversation or engagement. The breath changes. In the same way, we can change the breaths to affect our emotions. So they go back and forth. So a change of breathing practice, deep breathing, regular breathing, can regulate the nervous system and bring down our mental stress level through simply working with the lungs. So the beauty about these practices that we've learned through these from various teachers and all these different methods, that some of them have fancy names and the names don't matter. What matters is that they're effective. We've learned practices that begin on all these different areas and all have the same result of feeling a little more steadier within. So I thought what we'd do is we'd start with the body. The body is our most obvious part of our experience, of our existence. And it is the easiest area to begin, the easiest to work with. These practices can be these stretching movement practices. We'll do about a 10 or 15-minute movement practice set to get into the process here. And it's good to be able to stand up doing these practices because we can access most of our body from a standing position. And it's fine to use a chair to steady yourself in a standing position. If that feels unavailable, then seated in a chair that is fairly steady, that's at a good height, is great as well. We can do all these practices in a seated position. You've all heard of things like chair yoga. And also, if that's even inaccessible, like say we're on a very low energy day, we can even do these practices lying in bed, lying down, lying on the floor, where we can move in certain ways, stretch in certain ways. And if even that is painful, we can visualize these movements and actually have an effect on the circulation of energy in the body. Even if we're feeling ill, even if we're feeling down, even if we're having a very low energy day, it's important to find ways to move. One of my teachers says, a moving hinge doesn't rust. A moving hinge cannot rust. So a sedentary life, that curling into ourselves that we feel when we're physically hurt, feeling sick, emotionally down, it's okay for some time to nurture ourselves. And at some point, we want to start moving the body to help open back up. When we're feeling low energy, when we're feeling stressed and with a kind of a depressed view of the world, it's often not that we don't have enough energy. It's more that it's not circulating. Most people have sufficient energy in the body, but it gets stuck. It doesn't move well. We want our body to circulate its energy in the same way. You know the difference between a stagnant pond and a briskly moving stream. Like right now in the wintertime where we are, the water is very fresh, right? From the snow and from the cold. So a briskly moving stream is a healthy stream, and water that doesn't move becomes stagnant. In the same way in our body, the ways that energy moves through our system are called meridians, and it means rivers. It means rivers of energy or rivers of light. And so these rivers of light can get blocked for any number of different reasons all throughout the body. And we don't need to know why or how we got in that state. What's important to note is that even a simple movement like extending and bringing your hands in and making fists can begin the process of releasing and opening so that your natural life force energy can circulate in a healthy way and bring a step towards healing. Does that sound good, Daniela? Shall we dive right in?
Yeah.
All right.
Wonderful.
So you're great. So we'll go through a few different practices. There's a couple different things I wanted to bring you because I wanted to give you more than one tool. So we'll be going through these in a sequence. We'll do maybe about a half hour of different practices, and you can pick and choose. There's no need to do all of these in the order that is described. Almost certainly one or two or three of these is going to feel like magic for you. Okay, these are very, very powerful practices, and they're very, very simple. And the key is to remember and to use the tools. So I'll do a little mark when we've completed one little set and are moving to the next, so that those of you who are watching this at home or watching this later on can kind of skip ahead. We'll be doing a movement practice that I call the Magic 5 in 10. So it's 5 movement practices that take about 10 minutes. So the Magic 5 in 10. If I have no other time in the morning to do any kind of other exercise, I'll do the Magic 5, because in 10 minutes, I can get everything open and moving and feel like I'm ready for my day. We have another practice that's called Shake, Sound, Laugh, where we make a noise, or Shake, Noise, Laugh. It's the new SNL. Maybe Daniela, do you want to lead part of that? So we have that practice as well. That's a standalone independent practice that takes about 5 minutes. It's very, very beautiful and very great at releasing. And then I have a few breathing practices, because the breath is everything, and a little guided meditation for healing. Do you want to start with the new SNL, Daniela? Or do you want to start with the Magic 5
No,
and 10?
we'll do that after. We'll just do like a 3-minute total version of that. So I think 5 and 10 is good. A good start.
Okay. All right. So if you're able to stand, that's a good way to access this. And having a chair nearby or a wall to hold yourself is great. If you want to work with a chair, use a chair that feels fairly steady, that you can sit in and still be a little bit upright for the movements. And if you're lying down, just listen to the words that I'm saying and find a way to move. It may not match precisely what I'm saying. In fact, it won't, because we encourage you to really listen to your body and to find ways to move, listening to what we say, and then tune in and go with what seems like a good version of that for you today.
Yeah, there's
All
no
right, so if you want
wrong.
to,
There's absolutely no wrong, friends, with any of these practices. Anything that we do is going to be wonderful. So please always feel free to find your own variations, your own explorations of any practices.
do you want to lead a grounding, Daniela? A presence beginning?
No, you go ahead.
Okay. So find your place where you'd like to be. Lift those shoulders. Relax them down your back. Let the feet be a little wider than hip width apart, so you feel fairly steady. And then loop the shoulders back a few times. Let's begin with one of the breathing practices. You can bring your hands to rest on the navel or below the navel. Take a deep breath in, as big as you can, and then blow it out like you're blowing through a straw. Breathe in through the nose if it's clear, nice and full. And then like you're blowing it out through a straw. This time blow a little longer. Breathing in nice and full. Fill your body gently with the breath. And then now use your hands to press a little bit so even more breath comes out. Again, do a few more at your own rhythm, own pace. Key here is to blow the breath out until there's no more, and then try a little more just to make sure. Notice how the breath fills almost by itself. And use the hands to press just a little as you blow out. And then notice as you breathe in, let the hands move away from the body. See if you can fill the belly with breath. As the lungs fill, the diaphragm descends and you feel it in your hand. One more time. And relax. Now very gently start to turn from the waist and the hips. And we'll do the first spinal movement. So 3 of our magic 5 are all about moving the spine, the backbone, and all the directions it goes. So this one's called willow tree. So you imagine your arms are the fronds, branches of a willow tree, gently moving in the breeze. Now your arms are completely relaxed. So they're tapping or slapping or bumping into your body. And then as you twist, they naturally move the other way. Could also imagine that your arms are like empty coat sleeves. So how would your coat sleeves move if you were turning? They would just kind of fly around. Now relax your face, blink the eyes a few times, and breathe in and out through the nose if it's clear. Letting the breath out with a sigh anytime that feels like it would be nice. Breathing in and sigh it out. Ah. Turn a little bit more briskly so that you hear the hands and let them move around so they're bumping into the hips, the back, the waist, the stomach, the thighs. Any place in your back that feels tight today, tap into that area lightly. Your eyes, as you get into these practices, they can become softer, less focused. Maybe they want to close, and that's optional. And at least let them become wide. See if you can see the space you're in as if you're seeing it for the first time and you're curious about the light, the colors, whatever might be there. Good. And let this slowly slow down. And as the movement gets a little slower, feel there's almost a little bit of momentum or energy inside of you that kind of continues. Almost like there's an echo of the movement within. And then pause in the middle. Let's check our stance. Let your feet be a little wider than hips width apart. The knees, the hips are a little bit bent, and your shoulders are down and back. So the top of the chest feels broad, the heart feels a little bit lifted. As you inhale, bring the hands up in front of the heart. And then what we'll do is press one hand down and the other hand up. So like the palms move away from each other. And then the hands come through the middle. They pass each other, say hello on the way by. And then inhale, pressing one hand down and one hand up. Exhale through the middle. And go back and forth at a rhythm that feels good to you. Press also into the outside foot. So when your hand presses up, try to stretch the whole outside edge of the body all the way down to your feet. So activate your feet just a little bit. Now, if you're holding onto the chair, you can do one hand and support yourself and bring it down. And then you could do the other hand. And if you're seated in the chair, then you just do something very similar, pressing one hand down, leaning over slightly. And if it's comfortable for your neck, look up at the upper hand, gently turning the neck. We'll do a neck release as well. That's the fifth of the 5. Inhale into the extension. Try to fill your lungs. Even let your inhale assist with this stretch. Breathing into the side ribs, the side body. And relax. In between each, we're taking a moment here so you can feel the effects. You can really start to see which of these practices helps to liberate energy flow in your body. What does that mean? It means you feel a little lighter, a little more easeful in your body. So we've moved our spine left and right, rotating. We've just done lateral. And now we'll flex and extend. So you can bring the hands in loose fists by the shoulders. And then as you inhale, try to arch back, making your body into a gentle back bend. And as you exhale, bring the elbows towards each other, tucking in your tail, tucking in your chin. Inhale, make the shape of like a duck tail behind you. Exhale. So you're trying to move every part of your back equally. So the neck is moving a little bit as well, and it's not too much. And making sure that the hips are pivoting forward and back. That's the key. Really get into your lower back. Inhale. Notice how easy the breath comes in. Exhale fully, blowing it out. Inhale through the nose. Exhale. You can exhale through the nose, or you could make that sigh. Let the sound of your voice also carry away anything that has gotten stirred up. Now you can keep this one straight forward and backwards, or as you inhale and turn, you can turn to the side, taking a peek over your shoulder, and then exhale back to the front. So inhale, lift, extend, look behind you. Exhale, come on back. Inhale, exhale. Good. This is our third of 5. You can see we're doing each one for about 2 minutes. And you may find a different expression of this movement that feels good to you. You can go faster or slower. You could linger in any one position. You could do something completely different if your body would like to experience that today. And when this feels complete, come on back to the front. Reset yourself. Let your body move, wiggle, stretch, adjust, take anything that would feel good. That's your body's natural way of continuing to smooth out the energy systems. You can bend your toes back and forth. Sometimes the energy accumulates in the legs and wants to go to ground. So bend your toes and shake out a leg just to make sure that nothing is getting held. Good. And the fourth one is for the shoulders. Lots of options for the shoulders. I'll lead a few, and when one feels like what you'd like to do today, stay with it for the balance of our 2 minutes. So one shoulder is a back stroke, one arm at a time. This is a very nice one. Breathing in and out with the arm circles, perhaps looking at your hand, doing a few on one side and then a few on the other. Another option is elbow rotation. So your hands could be on your shoulders and you can do something similar, except let the elbows lead the way. Good. Or another one that sometimes feels really good to me is bringing your arm across and then letting your hand come up and squeeze it in. And of course, you can do a few of them. Find one of them where your body's like, oh, thank you, I needed that. And then if you'd like, try one of the others. Breathing in and out through the nose. Nice, full, even, smooth breaths. Relax your face, open and close your jaw, blink the eyes a few times. Good. Anything else? Reach for the ceiling, lean back slightly. Shake it out. And then lastly, for the neck, the fifth one. Again, a few options here. Be very, very careful. So one thing that's pretty common would be a gentle circle with the head, as long as that feels great on your neck and you don't look too far back. It's more like looking forward for the circle. If you feel a little stuckness or discomfort or pain, then don't move the head across the back at all. Just make the U shape where the chin comes down and up. This is one option. You may want to lay your ear over to the shoulder, bring the other hand up, and offer yourself a little self-massage. This one almost always wins out for me. Finding a little place where it feels good, and then using 2 or 3 fingers to rub, make circles, or press, and then breathe. If you find a hot spot, that's like, whoa, that's intense. Move around until you find the center of that. Press in until you know you're pressing in, and then take a few breaths until it slightly subsides, and then go to the other side. You move around, give yourself a little self-massage up the neck, down the shoulder. You'll probably find a place that feels like a knot or a hot spot. And when you found it, circle a few fingers around, finding the center of it. Press in with a fair amount of pressure so that you notice it, you feel it. And then take a few breaths. Imagine the breath going into that area. And notice that it reduces after 20, 30 seconds. All right. You can look left and right. The neck usually can use a little. If you have an 11th minute, give it to your neck. Maybe looking left to right, like saying a slow motion no, or up, head goes up and down, a slow motion yes. Even using your fingers to smooth your forehead, your eyes, your nose can help release tension in the neck. And one more bonus one on the subject of tension in the neck, your eyes are directly connected to your neck. So a lot of time tension headaches come from neck strain that are related to your eyes. And of course, a lot of us are at the desk on the computer all the time. So here's one that can relieve a tension headache. You gently look forward, so you relax the whole body, keep the head relaxed, keep everything relaxed. And what we're going to do is move the eyes as if we're going around a clock face. So just the eyes. So we're not going to do the head, trying to keep everything completely relaxed, bounce a little bit, get loose, and make sure that you're easily here, and then relax the head, and then just let the eyes go up and start to circle 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and twice more around. Trying to make the circle smooth, but don't worry about it. Just looking in each direction. Three times around, and then when you get up to 12, just reverse it. 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 4, 3, 2, 1, and 3 or so times around. And then after that, blink the eyes a few times. And let's pause here after this 10-minute experience and see how you feel inside. So with your eyes opened or closed, look within and listen within and feel within. What do you notice? Do you feel different? Acknowledge to yourself if something in here has made a difference for you. And releasing a little bit of tension from the body. So that bookmarks the magic 5 and 10. Daniela, do you want to do the 3-minute practice, or would you like me to lead it?
That was great. Thank you. I think it's worth noting just the importance of, in that practice, that the spine was moved 6 ways. That if you ever want a whole system refresh, friends, whether it's first thing in the morning or at any point during the day, just doing like side to side, concave and then convex. And which one am I missing, Christopher?
Willow tree.
And twisting. Yeah. And the willow tree really, like, go back. If you want to get your money's worth for willow tree, go back to when you were 5 years old and you zipped yourself up in your winter coat with your arms to your body. And then you went like that with your coat, and the arms were flapping. That's the key to willow tree. They just don't give you that very specific direction. That's the essence of it, right? If you give it a little oomph, like your arms are spaghetti and there's centrifugal force happening. So you go back to that 5-year-old place. Willow tree. There you go. There you go, Bert.
Yeah, you can go really fast with this one.
We all did it. We know what it feels like to whip our arms around like willow tree. And then, ready? Here's where willow tree can get wild and rowdy.
We're ready to get wild and rowdy.
Right. You can even, I'm gonna, hang on. Okay, so here's what you're gonna see. All right, so there's the regular willow tree where my feet are planted and I'm 5 years old, zipped up in my coat. Now, here's the wild version. Ready? You pick up the heel and then you pick up the other heel and you give it a little bend, and it gives it a little pop. In the world of Qigong, you can honestly do willow tree for 10 minutes and you put on some nice music, and you will notice after 5 minutes, 2 minutes, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, your whole system feels completely refreshed. It's a really incredible, if I could only do one practice, it would be willow tree, and I'd get wild with it with the heel up. I would just, it makes a big difference. So I just love that practice. It never ceases to shock me how different I feel afterwards. So finding some beautiful music, or headphones so you don't hear anybody else, and just what I love about it is you can get absorbed in the practice and not have to focus on it. So you kind of get a little bit of a vacay internally, and it's very sweet. And I love willow trees. So anyone, there's that. Okie dokie. So we were moving on to shake, sound, laugh.
SNL or SSL. Yeah.
Okay. So now this practice is based in the sciences of Qigong, vocal sound healing, and I guess it technically would be
dynamic meditation.
Dynamic meditation, excuse me. So the extended dance club version of this one can last 9 minutes, 15 minutes, as long as you like. We're just going to do a little sampler. It may sound silly, the practice, and so just keep in mind, rooted in science. All right, dynamic meditation, vocal sound healing, and Qigong. So for 1 minute, we just invite you, whether you're seated or standing or even lying down, to just shake your body. All right, so we just start doing that. And again, like, allow yourself to just have a little, you can bounce, have some fun, play to whatever degree you can feel playful. Give it some bounce, have your arms feel like they're noodles, and just moving the hips. There is a little bit of a release of the inner child in this, and just getting everything going.
That's a theme here, the release of the inner child.
Well, it's certainly interesting. These all kind of bring us back to movements we knew in our childhood naturally and effortlessly. It is kind of interesting. All right, so we're just what this practice does, the shaking, here's the science of it. Our nervous system holds emotion. So by shaking, oh, you can brush your arms, flicking, you're releasing tension from the nervous system. So there's a rationale to it. It's like, yeah, like shake it off. When like dogs just had a tussle with each other,
Get off.
stop, and they're like, shh, and then they're kind of reset. Look at animals; they all shake, not just because they're wet. They have moments. It's a way of completely resetting the nervous system. So, okay, shake is 1 minute or as long as you like. Then we pause for a moment. Just feeling the vibration in your system, just keeping your gaze inward and notice the buzzy sensations in your body. That's your cells getting a lot of oxygen. Those are the sensations of happy cells. Breathe in deep. Exhale long. Now, the next minute practice after shake is sound. We're going to invite you to make the ooh sound, but you can make any sound you like. The key is we're allowing sound to move out the throat. It helps to clear, you could say, anywhere we feel stopped or stuck in expressing ourselves clearly or truthfully. It helps us to reconnect the throat area, the throat chakra, to the solar plexus, our center of will, our power. So for 60 seconds, we're just going to make the ooh sound, just letting sound out as quiet or as loud as you like. All right, here we go. Christopher, you'll tell us when 60's up. Ooh. I don't hear you, Christopher. Oh, you go high to low. And then low to high.
And you can move anywhere that feels good as you make the sound. Exaggerated sigh sound.
Okay.
And if you're doing it, you'll naturally want to start doing the next one, which is
2 seconds. Just go for it. We're going to do laughter. Find your own authentic, even if it's just a heh, 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 right? Like there's no faking it till you make it. There's just explore, like green eggs and ham. You don't know till you try it. Woo! Bye, Sarah. I
I think I want to get another minute just so we can listen to Daniela laugh. 60 seconds left.
And let's breathe in deep. Exhale long. Now, here's why I love the laughter. Because sometimes when I approach the practice, I feel really annoyed by it. And when I start the laughter, sometimes a different emotion comes out than I didn't expect. Sometimes I'll feel myself leaking. Sometimes I'll feel like salt water coming out my eyes. And sometimes laughter practice can help us release emotion that is up at the surface, but yet hasn't fully come out. And I know myself well enough that if I don't express it, especially if I don't express unattended sorrow, it will come out as impatience, seriousness, and frustration in my life. We can easily have a habit of, I'm not going down there. I'm not letting tears come up right now. I don't have time for that, or I don't feel like crying again. And yet, interestingly, we're wired with this important self-regulating mechanism of our emotions. So sometimes laughter can move into the expression of tears, and just know that if that happens, it was needed. It was just needed. So I'm not a fan of fake it till you make it with laughter. I'm a fan of step into it and let it have me for the next minute. And sometimes I'm surprised by a different emotion that arises. So just know that that can sometimes happen. And I see that as a healthy thing, because it means my emotions have the opportunity to live their full life. A wave just wants to live its full life. And all of our emotions are energies that wish to move. And we can lose vitality. We can experience more fatigue than life has us feeling when we don't take time to express emotion. So that's one of the greatest pieces of story around any of these practices, or laughter, or even movement. Sometimes will allow emotion to spontaneously rise up. And I invite everybody to see that as very healthy. I remember one time I was on my yoga mat, and suddenly out of nowhere, I feel salt water, I feel emotion moving. And it really took me by surprise. But then I realized, oh, it's because I'm just giving time to myself right now. And movement of the body will release emotions that are being held in the body. So be willing, be willing. So that's shake.
So in some,
Go ahead on.
anything else?
Well, there always can
So
be.
sometimes there always can be. Back to so we bookmark that, and we're going to move into another little mini set, because we want to give you a bunch of different little toolkits here. So sometimes emotional energy or feelings or weird energy comes at us, and we think it's not really ours. Feels like it's coming from outside us. Maybe someone has road rage and we're driving and we feel it, or something happens and the heart starts beating, or we get into a disagreement that doesn't feel resolved and it doesn't feel very good. So we have a breathing practice called venting. What the practices you've done now have opened up the meridians in your arms down to your hands. The palms of your hands and the bottoms of your feet are energetic gateways. Energy literally moves in and out of this part of your body. Thinking about how much energy or love your hands give and receive, right? Petting a pet, right? Holding a loved one. Like, our hands are powerful. So when our energy gateways are open from our heart area down to our hands, then this venting practice can be done all by itself out in the world. And we're bringing our hands down as if we're pointing at the earth, and the hands are active. They're not tense and they're not relaxed. They're in between, right? Like, imagine if you were holding, like a puppy. If you're holding something that's very valuable, like a puppy, you're holding on firmly, but not squeezing, right? So it's that kind of energy. So with your hands pointed at the ground, you take a breath into the heart, and then as you breathe out, you visualize energy running down your arm into the earth. So these next three practices use visualization, the power of the mind, to move energy. So you breathe in, filling your heart with light, with love. Whatever's happening out there, you can still feel that inside. And as you breathe out, imagine the breath moving from the heart, physically moving down to your hands and then into the earth. And you can say to yourself, I'm not keeping that. That's not for me. That's not my energy. I wish to release this into the earth. You can use some kind of mental phrase like that to help you. So just give it a try. You're doing it still. It doesn't require any particular movements. You could be in a grocery store in line at a checkout and you start feeling something rise up, and you can just open the gates of your hands towards the earth. Recognize the earth's willingness to absorb all of our excess energy. The earth is the very definition of grounding. And then breathe in, fill your heart with warmth or with light or with love, and breathing out, imagine venting murky, stale, dark, excess, unneeded energy right down into the earth. So take 3 to 5 breaths. Breathing into your center, breathing out into the palms of your hand. And blow the breath out. You can make that quiet ocean sounding breath. Make a sound that sounds like exhaust, like air moving, breath moving out your hands. You feel a little more, if your hands feel a little more lit up, like you're aware of them more, or if you feel tingling, buzzing, lightness, openness, that's confirmation that this energy is moving, that it's flowing. And you can relax. And if you aren't already, you can come to sit or to lie down. We'll go through specific healing practice that uses visualizations and a little bit of self-healing touch. So finding it comfortable, let's get completely comfortable for this one. And this one we'll go through just so you have an experience of it with each of the major organ systems in the body. And if you're experiencing illness or a project or a challenge in a particular part of the body, on your own, you could stay with this one for 5 or 10 minutes just in that one area. Okay. So in each part of the body, we visualize fresh light, healing energy, healing light, healing color coming in, and also continuing the feel of unnecessary, leftover, stale, dark, murky energy moving out. So there's an active circulation of energy here. Why don't we start with the heart? So your hands can be completely relaxed. You can simply use your mind, or you can bring your hands to cover the physical heart, or you can have them be a few inches in front of the heart and imagine that your palms have something to offer to your heart. As you breathe in, imagine the color red filling this area of the body. And as you breathe out, relax, release. Imagine something is leaving that doesn't need to be here anymore. Breathing in. It's nice to do this if your eyes are closed, if that's comfortable for you, or at least lowered so that you're not too much in the external world. Breathing in, imagine from your hands or from your mind, this brilliant color red is streaming into your heart. Your heart is glowing from this red. And as you breathe out, relax. Take a few breaths on your own. Each breath, more and more healing, beautiful, natural, vibrant red moves into the physical heart. And then if you're using your hands either on or away from the body, let's move down the body, left of the navel, and the hands could be above and below each other. Here is the stomach, the spleen, the pancreas. These organs are responsible for digesting and distributing nutrients to your body, and our color is yellow, like your favorite yellow of the sun or of the sunflower. So as you breathe in, this yellow streams into this part of the body, and as you breathe out, you relax. And energy that doesn't need to be here anymore is moving down your legs into the earth through the gates of the feet. It's like your breath in is a fan, brightening. It's beautiful, soothing color in this area. Feeling grateful for the functions that these organs provide. And then I'll let the hands move across the body. Now they're over on the right, which is the area of the liver. The liver is very large. You can have your hands above, below each other, or one can come around your back. The liver is the body's filtration system. So as you feel grateful for the function of this part of the body, imagine the color green, like the sun streaming through the forest canopy in the spring. Beautiful forest green. Every breath in, more of this healthy, living green streams into this area of the body. And as you breathe out, stale, leftover, ready to leave energy moves down your legs through the gates of the feet into the waiting earth. Every breath in, the green gets a little brighter. Beaming gratitude to this part of the body. Now your kidneys are around behind you, so it may feel comfortable to reach behind you, or you can relax the hands and just bring your mind. They're below the floating ribs in the back of the body. Their color is blue, like a tropical ocean on a perfect day for relaxing by the water or swimming. Every breath in, this color blue brightens. Every breath out, excess is released. With all the gratitude in your heart, beam good energy, healthy energy into this part of your body. And release the hands. You can brush off your legs, give your hands a little shake. And then up they come. They cross each other with the wrists touching, and you can lay your hands over the collarbones, the tops of the lungs, or up to the shoulders, anywhere that's comfortable on your body, away from your body, or relax the hands and just bring your mind into your lungs. And we visualize the color white. We visualize that our lungs are this white, pink color, that all the darkness, anything that doesn't belong, is gradually moving out. All the gratitude in our heart. Breathing this silvery, bright, white light into your lungs, letting it get brighter with each breath, and with each breath out, releasing what no longer serves. And then remaining as still as you can, become even more relaxed. Perhaps coming to lie down and covering yourself with a blanket for the last part, or leaning back in your chair and putting your hands in any completely comfortable, keeping your attention within. Eyes are soft, relaxed, or closed. And you bring to mind something that generates a natural, easy smile. The face of a loved one, a child playing, a favorite pet, a place on earth where you love to be, a memory, an object you adore, a home. Whatever shows up, breathing this memory, breathing the feeling of that smile into your body. And then as you breathe out, imagine that this smile moves out of your body and instantaneously ripples across the entire universe, echoing off the far reaches of the expanding universe, coming back multiplied times 1,000. And you breathe it in, now working with the energy gateway of the forehead. Every breath in, welcoming in this magnified, natural, authentic smile energy into your forehead, and breathing it out into your eyes. Breathing in, smile energy, breathing it out into your ears. Every breath in, more and more and more comes in. It's abundant in supply. Every breath out, it's swirling into your body. It smooths out the face. It reaches down, it tugs at the corners of your mouth, gently turning them up into an authentic, easy smile. It's not done. The smile energy comes in through the forehead or the top of the head, moves down into the shoulders and the arms. Your whole body is filling now. Gold and white, bright healing. All these organs that we did the color meditations on are filling with smile energy now, glowing, operating fully with full function, health and vital and vibrant. It moves down further into the hips, your pelvic floor, the area behind the navel. All of this is filling. Breathing in, there's even more. It's everywhere. Everyone can share this. Breathing down into the thighs, the knees, the shins, the feet, and the toes. Accepting more of this healing energy. And every time you breathe out, keep finding parts of your body that are ready to receive even more. And pretty soon, notice that every cell in your body is smiling. And relaxing, releasing, letting go of all of your efforts. The last few breaths here. Set your mind free. Release the restraints and rest deeply. You can stay here resting just as long as you'd like. Tuning us out if this feels like a good place for you. Daniela, would you lead us out for those who are ready to close this session?
So we're happy to stay on here with you and answer any questions if you have. If you feel like just staying in this quiet space, you're more than welcome to just to exit. And if you'd like to unmute or ask any questions, we're more than happy to share anything that might be useful.
Well, I feel night and day different from how I felt coming into this. Had a second cup of coffee before lunch, and it was more than I shouldn't have had it. I would have been happier and felt better if I didn't. And it created, tension in my body and just all, it was just yawning throughout this. My body was finding every way it could just to release it all. And you're right about the done the what's that called, the willow tree one other time, and I'm like, okay, I'm sold now. Like, I love that. That is so good. It's so simple and so good.
And if you go for it, level 2, lifting the foot and bending the knee, it's next level.
5-year-old with bent knee is just next level.
Well, they're a little bit different. Daniela prefers that one, so her and I have a fun little exchange over this one. With the heels rooted and flat on the ground, that's really called willow tree and back. It's really a back release. With the lifting of the heels, it becomes a different practice called tossing, and it moves now into the hips. So it really depends on where you feel tightness or tension. So doing them both together. There's no reason not to. And they're pretty different. If you really plug your feet in and keep your legs strong, you can get deep into your lower back, where a lot of people carry a lot of tension. Whereas as soon as you start doing the twisting and the lifting the heels, it takes the target out. This is science. These are highly specific exercises that are creating certain effects in certain parts of the body. It's not really made up stuff, you know, it's really been deeply explored. And so the heel lifting one, you can use, it's called tossing, and you really can get a sense of letting the past go behind you, as well as pulling that movement way down into the rotation, the inner and outer rotation of the upper thigh as well. So beautiful. It depends on what you want.
A variation that I learned about willow tree also is when you're letting the arms just go wherever, like noodles, you'll feel them typically hitting the top of your glutes, right? That's just kind of where they naturally just land on their own. And if you bring a little bit of intentionality, you can open your hand and kind of give it just a little, it's like I don't want to say it's not a smack, it's not a slap, but it's like so what it does is it wakes up the meridians in your torso. When I add this level 3 to willow tree, foot up, bent, and waking up the torso with a little bit of you'll hear a little sound, doesn't hurt. If I do that part for 5 minutes, I feel energy moving in my torso that is 3rd level. So that's a little that's another layer to the brilliance that is willow tree, tossing something, and now opening the rivers of light in the torso. So there's that. I just love that.
Right. Thank you.
I had an experience where I had a real tough thing going on with my neck and my shoulder for days, like lock up tension. And I turned that willow tree into a flinging. Like it was so tight. I'd wake up in the morning and feel so sore because I sleep on my side. So it would be like I had a whole thing. And so I just found like winging it, like really putting a lot, like letting it. And I found it just open and open and open this whole side of my body. So yeah, have fun. You can see we like this stuff.
And another thing, if you ever wake up and you just feel just not at peak remotely, the one thing we can do is just in our own very gentle way, and I always love putting on just some gentle music, is think of it this way. Anywhere you have joints, wrist, elbow, shoulder, the spine, the hips, knees, and ankles, right? Anywhere you have joints, if you just for 10, 20, 30 seconds brought some movement to everywhere you have a joint, and then you go to shoulder. You can do it in any order you like, neck, hips, spine. That in itself is another whole way to just, like, let's say if somebody's not feeling well and they find, okay, I've been in bed all day and I can stand, there's a fancy term for it called open the gates. Think of every joint as a little gate. You just can, if you're having an off day, just opening the gates is a phenomenal way to just feel like, okay, I can bring some movement. It honors your energy system. It's a really quite profound how something seemingly so simple, what a difference it makes. And when by opening the gates, that energy will move differently. And it has the domino effect of we will think a little differently. We'll perceive a little differently. Sometimes some emotion moves. So it changes, it influences all these other layers of our being. So that one's a really sweet practice too. Just anywhere you have a joint, take 10 seconds and just move it in its natural way. There's no right or wrong way to move it. Anything that feels natural and instinctive to you. So that's open the gates.
Answer this question from Lynn. Where to find this program on the CRC website? If you go to crcfl.net and then you go to, I believe it is our resources page. It will list Living Well with Cancer, and it will show you all the different videos. You can also go to the CRCFL Cancer Resource Center of the Finger Lakes YouTube page, but it will be on the resources tab of the CRC website. So,
And the last thing we didn't
Thank
get,
you.
but now we are, is the mind. And if I could just share one tidbit that makes a difference for me, is twofold. Number one, when I shift my speaking by just a few degrees from I am sick to I feel sick right now, I have a completely different experience of myself in that moment, because that shifts me in two ways that are very significant. If I say I am sick, like I had COVID, and if I say I am sick, I feel, just due to the way I'm speaking, so married to that. Like that becomes like, that's my identity in that moment. However, when I shift it by 2 degrees to I feel sick, comma, right now, I am detangling myself from my identity as sick. And number 2, the right now, I find, is a golden reminder. It's the reminder of this is right now and this is temporary, because everything is changing and will change and will shift. So I have a lot of little like tips and practices around the mind. And yet that's one of the most impactful ones, is just stepping back a degree and ending any sentence with right now. Right now. This is what's so right now. My body feels sick right now. My body feels well right now. Right? And so therefore, oh, thank you, Stacy. Oh,
sorry if I thought you were done, so then I answered the question. I didn't realize you
oh,
had
no, it's great. There's always something else. So
Hmm.
I am officially done. Thank you, Lynn.
Yep.
Thank you, Lynn. Thank you, Bert.
Thank you both. And Lynn, it's wonderful having you with us. And again, if you have any questions or comments, you can share them with us. And if you want to, if you have one for after the recording, you can do that too. Otherwise, I will say thank you to both so much. And please tell everyone where they can find Radiant Living.
Oh yeah. If we can be useful for anyone here, anyone watching this, you're always welcome to reach out to us at info@inspiredliving.us. Again, that's info, that's our email, info@inspiredliving.us. If you have any follow-up questions, and our website is inspiredliving.us.
All right. So thank you. And thank you everyone for coming, and have a wonderful day.
Have a sweet evening,
Thank
everyone.
you.
Yep. Mwah.
Good night, everyone.
Bye.
Bye for now.